Hi everyone. This video is not a replacement for a live session. Hopefully we'll still be able to meet face to face, and that can even be individually. I want to make sure that your questions are answered, so please communicate with me about what you're not understanding or what your hopes are for this final paper. And it's an adventure, because this may be something that you're passionate about, and maybe you're going to pursue it further for a career. That's my hope, that some of you will have that great joy. But let's start by introducing the assignment. I call this the Capstone study. It's a research study. Now, when you're conducting a research study in psychology, you're going to do field work. You're going to do a gathering of data using surveys and other tools to get information, sometimes observations of people, similar to the profile, but your intention is to answer a research question and to test your own research hypothesis. So no matter what we're doing, whether it's psychology or literature or biology or history, in all of those fields, people research. So my intention is that you learn a little bit about how to put research together so that whatever field you go into, you can be successful and you can feel comfortable when you're asked to do a research paper or a term paper. So to begin with, you have 20 writing topics, and that document is posted in the final paper folder, which is on the left-hand side of Blackboard. And I hope you've already accessed that. There are several folders there, and there are guidelines also for the research paper. And those guidelines include due dates. You need to be very aware of everything that's going to happen. And the first due date is this coming weekend. And you need to have your topic nailed down. So let's start with the first of 7 stages. 7 stages make up this research paper process. So there are a lot of opportunities to improve your grade. There are also opportunities, unfortunately, if you forget things, where your grade could drop. The first stage, stage 1, is the topic submission. Now you've got to narrow your topic. You can't plan to research something like genetically modified foods. It's too big. But if you ask a careful question about genetically modified foods, you could research that topic. And it must be something that has a little bit of controversy involved. By controversy, we don't mean that somebody's doing something wrong, really. It just means that people disagree on how to solve the problem. So in many ways, these research topics that are listed in the 20 writing topics document, they are problems that need to be solved. Not always, but that is something that we're hoping you can do. You are the hope for the future and the present. So your topic submission, if you look at the explanation, at first it sounds like you're just submitting something that's 2 or 3 words. But I want you to know that this should be a paragraph, a short paragraph. This is not a thesis. This is simply an exploration of the topic. So we're not to the point where you are boiling it down to a single sentence, because that's what a thesis statement is. It has to be 1 sentence. In this case, you're just fleshing out what you want to do related to your topic. Now, I am requiring that you choose a topic from the 20 writing topics. Since there are only 20 and we have 25 people in the class, it's going to be something that, you don't have to fight over these topics, but no more than 2 people can do the same topic. And obviously, if you do the same topic as somebody else, you need to make your work unique. It can't show that you've been somehow working together and cross-pollinating each other's work, although that is something that happens in the academic community around the world. People do learn from each other, but in this case, it's very important that I see your work so that I can see what you know and what you still need support with. So the topic submission due this weekend is a paragraph, and I want a creative title. And this is the beginning of the actual title of your paper. It can change. It's a working title. But what I would tell you right now, and I'm going to require this, I want you to have two parts to your title for your topic. Okay, so it starts with stage one. I want you to have a creative title, and a creative title, it can be something that you have a lot of fun with. I often use lyrics to songs or sayings in our culture. Maybe you change one word of the saying, and so it jumps out at the reader because it's familiar, but there's something different. And so right away, the reader is interested in why you are using that phrase as your title. So by creative, we don't mean that you're putting words together in a way that has never happened before, okay? So creative title, then you have a colon, and then you have a descriptive title. And your descriptive title should be something along the lines of a study of blank in blank, a study of molecules in chemistry or whatever. I'm sorry, that was a lame example, but I need you to know that part of a discussion of your topic involves knowing a little bit about what has been said before. I'll be honest with you, Wikipedia is your friend, but it is never an appropriate source for your final paper. Wikipedia can help you know where to go. It's an amazing resource. We can't just discount it. I know a lot of teachers who do that, and I want to say very strongly, if I see quotations from Wikipedia in your paper, you're not going to get a good grade. That's just the obvious reality. So you start there, and you can use Wikipedia to understand the general knowledge, history of your topic, and you write 3-4 sentences. This is not a long paragraph, but you should be narrowing your topic. So instead of genetically modified foods, you might talk about, Costco's chicken farm in Nebraska, which is a new thing. And yes, there's genetically modified events related to those massive chickens at Costco, right? Okay, so you don't get free reign for your topic choices. I'm sorry for that, but I do need to limit you so that you don't just wander in the wilderness. All right, so the first topic on the list is, as people rely more and more on technology to solve problems, the ability of humans to think for themselves will surely deteriorate. That is a controversial statement, meaning that there are two sides to it. Some people don't agree, some people agree. And it can be proved, it can also be disproved to some extent. It's an argument paper that you're writing. And so clearly, you can have your opinion at the beginning, but you can't have your own facts. You can't make up your own facts. So I want to make sure, well, let me just share my own example. I just have experienced a massive technology blackout in my life. Fortunately, I can make this video. I can go to Starbucks and upload this video, but I have had no internet at my workplace. Can you imagine that? You were in a business and you had no internet for 4 days. And that's basically what my life has been like. And it's very challenging. It's also redirected me. It helps me realize that, wait a minute, am I just not thinking anymore? Am I letting the computer and the internet do everything for me? It's convenient, and I think that I can be very productive with the internet, but without the internet, it becomes very transparent, and we see whether we are really thinking for ourselves or not. So this is a very interesting topic, and what happens when you lose your cell phone? Does your life fall apart? That kind of thing. But you need to do research. And so for any of these topics, you will be doing scholarly research, not web research only. Yes, sources on the web can support our learning, but we expect that you go into the databases like EBSCO. That is a famous database, and Concordia has access to it through the library. through your school accounts. So this should be something that you can do to find at least 4 scholarly articles that discuss your topic. I want to make it clear, the articles don't have to discuss your topic only. It doesn't have to be a journal article about how technology makes our thinking deteriorate, although there are probably many out there, many studies. And it can be studies in technology, it can be studies in psychology, it can be studies in biology and biochemistry and brain research. There are so many ways to go with this. So I really hope that you know that you need to pursue scholarly articles. These articles should be things that you can actually process. The abstract, which is often at the beginning of a scholarly article, remember, scholarly articles are found in journals, and journals are peer-reviewed. That means that scientists review and critique scientists to make sure that the standards are high. So a peer-reviewed scholarly journal. That's what you need to tell the librarian if you need some help in doing this kind of research. You can look it up on Google for sure. And yes, there are many things that you can access on Google, but please be careful. I have often seen students think that they could do this, especially at the last minute, and it's just not feasible. It's not a good way to do research. You have 6 weeks to complete the process. The first 3 weeks are really your research time, and you're planning and developing. You get to the point where you have an outline by the end of Unit 4. In Unit 5, you will write your paper. It will be 2 drafts that you turn in where you get some feedback, and then a final paper. So that is how this is all going to work. The topic submission, make it short, make it sweet, make it to the point, make it something based on a little research that you've done to find out more about the topic. Stage 2 is an annotated bibliography. This is maybe the most complex of the stages, but it's so important. It has to do with your scholarly research. It has to do with looking at the Concordia Library and online databases and finding articles that match up at least a little bit with what you are trying to learn about. So I want to stress again, it's perfectly legitimate to have good websites. By that I mean government websites or educational websites. They have very high standards. If it's a website that is still a corporate website, but it's reliable, history.com is a very reliable site in many ways because it's so prominent. So, there are websites out there. If you need to check with me, you can check with me, but if it's a blog, make sure that the person writing the blog is verified as a scholar. And there are plenty of blogs out there that have great information. A lot of it isn't totally fact-based. It's opinion-based, right? That's what blogging is. So the annotated bibliography has 2 parts, right? The bibliography part, which means a list of books or a list of resources in this case. And a lot of it will be digital, but it needs to be digital through databases, journals, periodicals. And so you will create a list of sources. That's what I would start with. Start by compiling sources and make sure that you're using MLA format from the very beginning. Often websites or journal articles, they will actually show how it should be how the title and information for a source should be cited in a research paper for a college student or high school student. So you want to do this right as much as you can from the very beginning. Go to OWL at Purdue. Find out how to make a bibliographic entry using MLA format, not APA. We're going to stick with MLA. APA is what's used for education and the social sciences, and I realize that many of your topics will fit that better, but we need to stick with MLA to have some continuity so that you know one system really well. I think you'll have no trouble then switching over to APA when you have to. A lot of these online, EasyBib, it knows what to do. You can switch it back and forth, MLA to APA. I want you to know, though, MLA doesn't just mean the Works Cited page. By the way, that is the title of the last page. It is capital W Works, capital C Cited. It's Works, not Work Cited. Please be accurate with these little details. And so MLA means citations in the text. And just like your literary analysis, you're going to have parenthetical citations or parenthetical references. And those are usually the author's last name, space, page number, without a P, without a P period, without a PG period. Don't do it the way you think you might do it. Do it the way MLA says to do it. Now, for internet sources, that's tricky because there are no page numbers. If you just use the author's last name, that usually works. But with a research paper, you sometimes have a scholar that has repeated articles in your Works Cited page, and you need to give more information. So you'd have last name, comma, and then one word of the title is sufficient. I want to tell you now, titles, if they're journal article titles, they would be in quotation marks. And just like it is in the MLA Works Cited page, you would have it in the citation in quotation marks, but you don't need to keep writing the full title. And you don't include articles. So if the article's name, if the title's name is the basis for evaluation of molecules, you can just say, in quotations, basis. So your entry might be, in parentheses, Smith, comma, quotations, basis. And that's it for your citation. That's for online sources that are not in journals or that don't have pagination pages. So this bibliography has the list of sources. You need to have at least 5. And 5 can include web sources and it can include journal articles, but by the end of Unit 4, you must have 4 scholarly journal articles. It's required. You can see it on the course page. The annotated part is the second part. You need to have notes. That means you have the source, the bibliographic source, and then below it, you have sentences that explain your source. 3 to 5 sentences is reasonable. You tell anything that you can see from the abstract, and you don't have to read the whole article to write an annotation for a source. That's why we put this at the beginning of the research process. And so you have a brief paragraph, 3 to 5 sentences, and maybe more, it's fine. But the thing is, you need to say basically what the article talks about. You find that in the abstract, and what you hope to find to help you with your topic. So apply it to your own topic and your own work. And so, one of the things you're learning is what the experts think about your topic, how they have agreed or disagreed in certain ways. And you can see on the research paper guidelines that it basically talks about what you should have in your annotation. There are 3 things they note. As you read the findings of experts and take into account how much they agree with your assumptions, differ from your assumptions, and differ and agree with each other, that's what you put into your annotation if possible. Now this is it's a writing class research paper. This is not something that you're going to publish, although sometimes people do publish from writing classes, and it's amazing because you're going to do great work. Stage 3 is writing the thesis and the introduction. And just like your literary analysis, you need an introduction that is about 200 to 300 words. And then the last 2 sentences are very key. The second to last sentence is your thesis statement, your answer, your hypothetical answer to the question that you started with. And the last sentence is your forecasting statement. I want you to basically use the same model as you did for the literary analysis. And please read the information that's in the guidelines to help you through this. So you're actually writing the introduction of your paper for stage 3. For stage 4, which is at the end of Unit 4, that is the outline submission. You must create an outline. It doesn't have to be with sentences, it can be with topics, but it is single spaced and it's 1 page minimum. Don't go overboard, because I think in that case you would be overdoing your outline and not getting to writing the paper. If you have that much to write about, I'd say jump in and start writing. Everybody works differently, but everyone must have an outline. You'll turn that in as stage 4. Now, stage 5 is going to be the submission of your conclusion. And this is odd for some people. They say, wait a minute, I haven't even written my paper. How can I write my conclusion? Well, you've written your outline. So you have your introduction, you have your outline, you have your conclusion. Introduction and conclusion should somewhat frame or echo one another or mirror each other. And it's a frame. It's a frame for your paper. So having introduction and conclusion helps you know the starting line and you know the finish line. Now, the due dates, I think, are pretty clear on the research paper guidelines document. You must write 8 full pages, not counting a works cited page. Please do not include a title page. Do not include any images, except if you're going to put them at the very end after the works cited page as appendices. I don't want it to impact your writing at all, but if you really want to share something, there's a way to do that, and I can guide you through that, but I'm not looking for any appendix portions with pictures and things like that. So the main thing is that you're taking scholarly research and you're synthesizing it. You're putting it together in your own way to answer your own question. The proper formatting is essential, and you need to use the OWL frequently. I am asking that you use the OWL basically for one portion. I need you to submit to the OWL when you do your when you do your outline. I need them to see your outline. I need them to see what you're going to do. And I'll try to alert the OWL to let them know that this is the process we're using. So you need to get feedback throughout. You need to be working with your editing partner. I'm sure you'll have more questions. I'm ready for your questions individually, in conferencing, in any online Collaborate Ultra session that you want to set up with me. But just realize email can work, and if you send me a clear question, I can answer it. I can answer it several times if you're still not understanding. But please go to OWL at Purdue to learn how to create this research paper to be a perfect example of that style, MLA style, because that's something that makes a first impression. You want it to be a good first impression. All right, I'm past my time that I said. I thank you for watching this. I hope that this has helped you get ready for this unit and follow the information on Unit 4, and I think you'll be in great shape. God bless your work and your study.